7th now. I'm in the exact same spot I was at yesterday. I left all my stuff here in the tree because we got about the same wind. It's basically straight north. Buck was a no-show last night. Sticks was a no-show last night, but a buck that I called Gigi, he's a mature deer. He had like a 6-inch flyer off his right G2 last year. He doesn't have the flyer this year, so I didn't recognize him at first, but I've gotten pictures of him and didn't know it was him, but I saw him last night, right? He was standing in the creek right behind me here. Last night the wind was pretty true, but it was raining and there wasn't much. Today, so far at least, it's been swirling a bunch, so I don't know how it's gonna go. It is supposed to die off, and I'm hoping as it gets lighter, thermals just pull it into the creek over here, but if he shows up, I might get busted before he ever walks in. I should be having a just off wind. A north wind should take my scent right into the creek over here. He should be coming from that way, paralleling the creek, but I'm on a bend, so it should be blowing out, and he's walking, thinking he's got the wind in his favor, but it should be just off, but like I said, it's swirling, so we'll see. But yeah, the number one buck I'm after tonight is Sticks. Like I said yesterday, I got 2 years of history with him. This is the 3rd year. I have a match set, sheds off him from 2 years ago. He was an 11 point 2 years ago. He was a 12 point last year, and he was probably 160s or 170 last year, and he's about the same this year. I don't know if he's got at least 10 points. I don't know if he's got any more. His G5's really short last year, and if he has them, they're really short again this year, so. But I got 2 scrapes out in front of me here. He's hit the 1 scrape. He hit it on Saturday night, and he hit another scrape Saturday night closer to daylight, about 200 yards up this way. And he had that scrape this morning at about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm hoping he comes back and hits this one in daylight tonight. I didn't want to go all the way up there and set up right by that scrape that he hit this morning, because I'm pretty sure that he's bedding right up the hill from that spot. And as soon as I pop up the hill, he's going to be able to see me. It's a giant oak hill. It's really open. He could be all the way at the top and see me. And then, my thermals are going to be rising up the hill most of the night. So, basically until last light. And it'd be a great spot to get busted. And right now I know about where he's hanging out. He had that scrape just after daylight on Saturday. Hit it in daylight today. I'm hoping he just makes his way this direction. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
I just got him. 99% sure it was sticks. He's big either way, I don't even know. I cannot believe that. Right. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I heard him go down, so I'm just coming out to where I shot. See if I can find my arrow. See what that looks like. Should be right around here somewhere. Well, we found some blood all right. I actually didn't find hardly any blood. I was just about to leave because my lighted knock didn't light. So I couldn't find anything. And then I cut some blood on my walk out, and I tell you what, it is definitely sticks. And dude, he looks big. This is awesome. Oh yeah. October 7th, right?
Yeah.
So much earlier than I've ever shot anything. Awesome. All right, I just want to do a kind of like a closing interview for the hunt for sticks, because you know I kind of sounded like an idiot after I shot him, which I mean I was excited and I didn't really do a great job of explaining a whole lot of stuff. I did talk about some of it in the opening interview, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of history on the deer and kind of tell you why I was hunting in that spot at that time. So I got pictures of this deer and kind of started taking notice of him in 2023. I found both sides of his sheds that year in 2023, which I think he was a 3-year-old then. I'm pretty sure that Outdoor X has video, or I for sure have video finding both sheds. One of them I found right on a chicken manure pile, and it was really gross looking and stuff, and I had to take it home and wash it off and everything, but that was kind of a funny one. But that is on, you know, it's on my Instagram, and I think it's on Outdoor X's Instagram too. I can't remember if they posted that video or not, but you can find that. It would have been like January 2024, I guess, when they would have been found. So anyway, I called this deer Sticks because he's an 11 point. So I'm not very quick with my naming of deer. I'm not very clever with naming deer, I guess, but he's 11 point and I named him Sticks. So I thought that he was a deer that had some really great potential. And this deer was living more or less in the same area that this deer behind me was living in, which we talked about him on episode 20 of the podcast. So I harvested him in 2023. First year I picked up this deer that I call Sticks, and they're living, like I said, more or less in the same area. I was really hoping that he would kind of end up doing a similar thing, you know, maybe like pre-rut or something like that. He starts showing up in the area that I'd access to hunt, because I know that, you know, this deer included, they live kind of on the fringe of where I had access to hunt. And 2024 came. Sticks was a 12 point that year, probably about the same size that he was this year in total score and stuff, but he only had 11 points this year. He had 12 last year. But he was totally nocturnal. He didn't come into I'm sure he was moving in daylight somewhere, but he never made it to the area that I had a chance to hunt in daylight at all that entire season. And if I ever got pictures of him, he was at night. I mean, we're talking 11, 12 o'clock at night. We hardly had any pictures of him earlier than that. So I knew coming into this season in 2025 that, you know, it was gonna be an outside chance of me getting a shot at him, or even seeing him in daylight. So as it would happen,
there was a property that we had permission on to hunt, and it sold to somebody else, so we aren't going to be hunting that property this year. And because of that, the landowner, being the awesome landowner and friend that he is, I don't know if it's because of that, but either way, that it worked out that we lost a piece of permission and we gained another piece of permission to kind of offset that. So this piece that we got access to this year is actually, I believe, the core area of where Styx lived. So once we got access later in September, we got permission to be down there. So I went and put a couple of cameras out, and one of the cameras I put out, I said, okay, if I'm gonna get Styx on camera, this is where it's gonna be. It was basically like right in between where I had found his sheds. And one of his sheds, I believe this one, I found right in his bed. So like there's melted snow on the ground, shed laying in it, his shed. So I knew that he was for sure, at least that day, bedding right there. And I knew that he probably lived in that area. And I had one of the cameras right down the hill from where that was at, and where, based on how long it took him to get to where I had cameras before, and where I'd gotten pictures of him before, I figured he had to be somewhere in that area. Well, I put the cameras out on October 4th, or on October 3rd, and I got a picture of him on October 4th, almost in daylight. It was like 4 minutes after the end of legal shooting. So I thought, okay, he's in the area. And we had that cold front coming in on Monday the 6th. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go into this area. The wind is right for, kind of right for this spot. Hopefully when it stops raining, he'll come in and hit the scrape. Well, on Monday, it never stopped raining, and he never came in and hit the scrape. I did see another mature buck on Monday that I got footage of, and maybe Jesse will put in here. It's a deer that I called Gigi because we have a mini horse named Gigi, and she's fat and has short legs, and like that's what this deer looks like. But he walked right in the creek next to me, and I got some good footage of him. But Styx was a no-show on Monday, but we had a very similar wind, and we're still experiencing some of that cold front on October 7th. And there was no rain, obviously. It stopped raining. So I went back to the exact same spot. I left all my stuff hung in the tree and just went back in there the next day. And, it took him until, I think I shot him at 7:02, and legal shooting ended at 7:17 that night. So, he took almost until dark, but I had gotten a picture of him that morning at 9:47. And he was about 200 yards away, and I knew that was about where he was bedding based on, kind of where I'd seen him close to daylight before. So I was hoping that he would make it that far that evening. And he basically read the script exactly. He came in from the direction I wanted to come in from. He made like 3 scrapes just in the bottom right there coming along, and I thought I don't know if he was gonna make it to the scrape I was sitting over in time, because he was taking so long making all these other scrapes. But as the video showed me, it was only like 4 minutes, even though it felt like an eternity. And then he came out, and I didn't actually let him get all the way to the scrape. You saw in the video, you'll see in the video, I ended up shooting him before he actually got all the way to the scrape, because the way that spot set up, there was all these scrapes along this kind of like grassy opening. And it makes sense of why the deer like to hang out and lay down scent there, because it's a low spot, and all of the scent at night just drops into that center bowl area. So I had to sit far enough back that I was on the offside hill so that my scent would go the other direction when the thermal started dropping, which is exactly what happened. It worked out perfectly. My scent was dropping away from him. He never had any idea I was there. But that means the shot to the scrape was actually, it's like 35 yards. It's a little bit farther than I would like to shoot. Not that I wouldn't shoot him that far. Of course I would have, but it was nice. He walked kind of the closer edge to me, and he was kind of right in between 2 scrapes. So I don't know which one he was going to go to, but he was right at 30 yards, and I pulled the trigger there. I thought in my head that he had stopped walking, but when I watched the video back, he totally did not stop walking. So, but ended up making a good shot. The beast broadhead went right through him. Great blood. Once I found blood, great blood. I forgot my headlamp, my good headlamp, so I just had my backup one, which was not very bright, and I still ended up coming across blood. I was basically like, okay, I guess I'm not going to find any. I'm going to go get my good headlamp. And then when I was walking out, he ran right the direction that I have to walk out to leave, and I cut across a huge blood trail, and he was not very far away, as you saw in the video. So yeah, that's kind of the story of Styx. He was a 5.5-year-old deer, I believe. He could have been 6, but I'm pretty sure he was 3 in 2023. And this is I've never had one work out quite like this. I mean, never shot a buck this early before. Definitely not a target buck or any buck for that matter. But all of these other deer that you can see behind me, I had multiple encounters with them before I actually got a shot at them. Usually I could get close, but like things just wouldn't work out, and it would take a few times, a few encounters and a few opportunities for me to actually get an arrow in these deer. And this one just happened to work out perfectly. I mean, 2 sits in the same spot. The very first plan came together, and like I couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity that the landowner gives me to hunt out there. I'm going to be back out shooting some does for him to make it worth it for him to let me hunt out there. And I just feel really happy and blessed that I was able to get this deer this early, especially after not getting one at all last year, not getting any bucks last year. Had multiple encounters with mature bucks that I would have shot, but the shot never came together. And I guess maybe it was due that I that came together on the first try or the second try this year. So that's the story of sticks.